Hi there, my name is Emma and welcome to my page. I am your kettlebell coach and I am here to guide you through 5 days of kettlebell exercises. Today is day 1 of this beginner kettlebell journey and we are going to go over some of the basics with kettlebells as well as body weight to ultimately set you up for an entire week of success. I work with women of all ages and all skill sets with kettlebells. This program can be good for somebody who has never touched a weight before or a more seasoned exerciser who wants to get a better understanding of these movement patterns. Throughout this program, we're going to cover all of the grinding kettlebell exercises. Those are the ones where you are using your strength and energy to press the weight, to pull the weight, to squat the weight. Then after you finish these 5 days, you'll be prepped and ready to move on to the ballistic kettlebell exercises. And these are the ones where you're doing swings, cleans, snatches, using those glutes to propel the weight into space using your energy. Today's program is going to cover the kettlebell deadlift, squat, and the push-up, as well as some mobility and core work. You're going to use all of these skills to start laying the foundation for a strong relationship with kettlebells. And if you like what you're seeing, don't miss out on the opportunity to download my free kettlebell guide. You can find that at emmabfit.com and it's a free ebook that takes you through similar exercises to the ones we're going to do over this 5-day period, but you get access to exclusive longer form videos and tutorials that are going to really walk you through each of these exercises in detail, as well as a 3-day-a-week program that you can repeat for a full month. So without further ado, I'm going to need you to get a kettlebell that you can press overhead for about 5 to 10 reps and one that you can squat for 5 to 10 reps. And those are going to be your tools for this program. If you don't have kettlebells, but somehow have found yourself looking at this beginner kettlebell program, you can use a dumbbell, but it's not going to prepare you for moving on to the kettlebell ballistic exercises. So I really encourage you to grab some kettlebells and join me. These videos are going to be follow along format, so you'll watch me and do as I do. But of course, if I'm moving too quickly for you, or if you want to rewatch something, pause the video, rewind it, do what you've got to do. But we will be starting with our mobility, working our way through our core, our strength exercises, and then finishing with a cool down stretch. This is all stuff you can follow along with me, so let's get going. The very first thing we're going to do is our mobility. So you're going to take your arms out to your side, palms face up, and start making 10 small circles backwards. Each circle gets a little bit bigger and bigger. You can see my face starts to make some funny faces because this actually pulls on all of the muscles on the front side of the body. So about 10 there. Then we'll bring our arms back by the sides, palms face down, and small circles forward, getting bigger each time. As you do these circles, I want you to suck your arm bones into the shoulder sockets and really feel the arm articulating its way through the shoulder socket. Great. Now you're going to take those hands and interlace them behind your back. We're going to start by pressing the chest forward, but keeping our ribs down, and then raising our arms up and lowering them down. We're going to go up and down here a few times, trying to keep everything else engaged. And then when we're up at the top, we're going to bend our knees a little bit and hinge over the body. Let the back side of the body stretch. Bend the knees a little bit to facilitate leaning over and let those arms fall overhead. The straighter the legs, the bigger the stretch on the back of your legs. Ooh, that's going to feel spicy if you've got some tight hamstrings or tight back of your legs. And then stand up. Now we are going to pop down into a deep squat. Everyone's deep squat's going to look different, but you want to start with your feet pretty wide. Toes can face away from you. And then you're going to sink down as low as you can while keeping your heels on the floor. This is, again, going to look different for everyone. You might be up here. That's okay. We're going to drive our elbows into the inside of the knee and just start by rocking back and forth. You might find that you sink a little bit deeper as you hang out here. Don't have to worry about keeping your back flat. We're just going to rock back and forth. Then you're going to put your left hand on the floor and reach your right arm up and twist and open. Your back might crack if you're a cracky person. Mine is. I hope you can't hear it. And then we're gonna put the right hand down and twist to the other side. You're opening your whole chest. We're not just letting the arm go up. You're pressing the right elbow into the right leg and you're twisting your torso. We're gonna take this about 3 times per side. That first one can be really slow, but these other 2 can be a little faster. Then I want you to place your hands behind you and bring your hips to the floor and your feet out in front of you. We're gonna sit up straight and drop the knees. You're gonna create what we call a shin box, where your foot is connected to the thigh and your shins are kind of making this box shape. I guess this is why we call it that. And now you're going to windshield wiper your knees from one side to the other. You see here, my feet and my hips, they didn't change locations. I might rock on them a little bit, but they don't actually move the spot that they're in. So you're gonna hold your arms up and you're gonna go back and forth in these shin boxes. If you need to, you can prop your hands behind you for a little bit of support. But if you don't, we're starting to engage the core by holding ourselves up. After about 3 times to each side, you're going to use your glutes to come up into hip extension. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this on a hardwood floor. If you have some carpeting or a soft gym mat, that's a great place to take this. But you're gonna squeeze your glutes to press the hips forward, and you're going to feel a big stretch on this hip. We'll do about 3 times on each side, and then we are going to move into our core activation. We always want to activate our core before moving, especially with kettlebells, which are so dependent on a hip hinge pattern, in order to make sure that we're moving safely and that we don't injure our lower back. Now, I'd like you to make your way over to a wall or something you can press your feet into. And we're going to start activating the core with some breath work. You're going to lay down and you're going to put your feet up on the wall, scooting yourself in, so that way your feet and knees are both at about 90-degree angles. From here, you're gonna put your arms up towards the ceiling, reach them towards the ceiling, but pull the arm bones into the sockets. You don't just wanna have those shoulders coming off the ground. Keep the shoulders down. We're going to just start by taking a nice inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Do this 3 times, just observing the body. As you do this, notice, is your lower back on the floor or is it arched? Are your feet firmly on the wall or are your heels hanging off? What is happening? On your next inhale, I want you to inhale through the nose. And when you exhale, exhale hard through the mouth and press your lower back into the floor. See what happens. Did you feel your ribs depress into your abdomen? Did you feel the tightening of the stomach here? We're gonna do this 3 more times. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth hard. And as you exhale, press the lower back into the floor. Keep pulling those arms down. And now one more time. When you inhale, I want you to press your feet into the wall. And when you exhale, I want you to press your lower back into the floor. This power breathing, activating the abdomen and the core through your breath, is the first step we have to starting to get our core on fire and working. From here, just shift yourself back away from the wall, and I really hope you can still see me here. We're gonna wanna have our feet on the floor more or less just underneath our knees or just in front of our knees. And then you can have your hands by your sides or elbows up or arms up. This is gonna be the hardest. And what you're gonna do is inhale through your nose, exhale through the mouth, press your lower back into the floor and brace that abdomen. Send your ribs towards the hip bones here, just like we did on the wall. From here, you're gonna lift your hips up, squeezing the glutes and lowering them back down. And every time you come up, you want to keep the front side of the body tight to avoid hyperextending. This isn't a yoga pose where we want to get the opening of the front of the body. We want to keep the front and the body both tight. And every time you come down, press the lower back into the ground. The more deliberate you are with each of these reps, the fewer you have to do, but keep going. We're going to do about 10 together here. 2 more. And now we're gonna take it to single leg. So work that leg into the midline of the body, the right leg, sorry, move the right leg to the midline of the body. Take your left leg and figure 4 it over the right. And now we're gonna do the same thing, but you wanna move both of your hips more or less at the same time. You'll get a little stretch on the front of the hip here while you do this. But squeeze both glutes as you come up. And this one might not feel like you're getting as far, but again, we're gonna go for 10. We've got 5 more, and it might not feel like you're lifting very far at all, but I assure you, you're doing it right. 2 more. Good. And now we'll switch to the other side. Put that left foot in the midline of the body, figure 4 the right leg over it, and go up and down. If this is stressful on the knees, you're probably tucking your heel in too close to the butt, so work it away a little bit. Keep going. You inhale when you come down and you exhale when you go up. We have 1 more. Good. Now we have a third exercise. So what we'll do is we'll start in that glute bridge position, press the lower back into the floor, brace the abdomen, lift the hips up, and from here you're going to march in place by lifting one leg just a tiny bit at a time, a few inches off the ground. This isn't like throwing the leg up. We're just lifting it enough and feeling our weight shift from side to side, but trying to keep those glutes completely level. Try not to move at all. The only thing that changes is the foot that's on the floor. We're gonna go 10 times on each side. Squeezing the stomach, squeezing the butt to hold it up. Yours might look a little wigglier than mine. That's okay. It will get stronger with time. Let's do about 5 more. Squeezing the stomach. And relax. Good. Now if you're feeling a little tired already, that's great. We're gonna move on. If you feel like you have it in you, rewind that and do it one more time. 10 glute bridges with both feet on the floor, 10 single leg on each side, and 10 marches on each side. And now we're gonna move on to getting into the difference between the deadlift and the squat and working our way through both exercises in the meat of this workout, because you are learning here, but we are also working out. So as I just mentioned, we have 2 exercises we're going to be working on, the squat and the deadlift. These are the major ways you can move your lower body to exercise it. A squat is a knee bend, meaning your knees are the primary mover to lower you down and raise you back up. You see that? I mean, my hips bend, but the knees are really what's responsible for moving me. And a deadlift, now that's a hip hinge, meaning my hips are responsible for moving the body. You see that? The knees bend a little bit, but it's really up to the hips. So these are the 2 major kind of exercises. We have knee bends and hip hinges, and you're going to become very familiar with both. So we are going to start with our deadlift, and then we'll move on to the squat. So I would like you to grab a weight that you feel comfortable deadlifting. It wants to be your heavier weight of the 2. You might feel like, oh, that's too heavy, so you can start light, but I do encourage you to ultimately get heavier, because your legs are strong. And if you have a 10-pound and like a 30-pound kettlebell in front of you, I promise you, you regularly pick up things that weigh more than 10 pounds. So we are going to start with that deadlift. And I'm first gonna demonstrate what it looks like, and then we'll work our way back and do it for reps after we learn how to do it properly. So just for context, so you all know what we're doing. So you saw there, my legs were responsible for bringing that weight up and down. So before you even touch the weight, what I'd like you to do is stand with your feet underneath your hips or a little bit wider. Really doesn't matter where the feet are, as long as when you bend your knees, they track over the midline of the foot. Then I want you to take a deep exhale or hard exhale through your mouth like we did on the floor. Send your ribs to the hip bones, tailbone to the floor. Brace all of this. Keep that there as you bend your knees a little bit while sending your hips far behind you, like you're trying to reach something behind you. I like the expression like you're trying to close a car door with your hips, like you've got all the groceries and you're trying to do that, right? That's what's happening, while keeping your back long and flat and gripping the ground with your toes. So we're gonna, right here all together, take 10 body weight hip hinges. You see I have my hands in my hips to really make sure that I'm pushing those hips back. Now my knees obviously have to bend a little bit, but they only want to move as long as the hips are moving. The knees can bend, but the hips need to be shifting back as they go. And at the top, you want to squeeze both the front and the back of the legs. That was about 10 right there. You want to make sure that at the top, you're not just thrusting forward and leaning far back. We want to be sending our energy up. So hinge down, inhale, exhale, up, and squeeze the front and the back of the legs at the same time. Our lower back can get compromised by hip hinging movements, so we protect the lower back by squeezing the core, the butt, and the legs. So a couple times there, coming up nice and firm at the top, squeezing the front and the back of the legs. I'm going to remind you that as we go. So now we are going to do 10 reps at a time, 4 rounds of 10 reps. If your weight is a little light for you, you're already familiar with the deadlift, go for 15 reps. We're just going to take maybe 30 seconds of rest between rounds. So you want to start by lining that kettlebell up with the ankle bone towards the back of your feet. It almost disappears here when I stand over it. Now I'm going to take that big exhale, ribs towards the hip bones, tailbone towards the floor. Shoulders go down the back by corkscrewing my arms into the socket and squeezing my armpits. Now I hinge down and I grab the kettlebell, and before I take off, I want to make sure my shins are pretty perpendicular to the ground, meaning about 90 degrees. The weight's in my butt, and then tug on that kettlebell. Just start to tug on it to feel your legs working. Press your hands at press your feet into the ground and stand up. Inhale as you hinge down, exhale as you stand up. 10 to 15 times on your own count. I'm going with you, but you might be moving at a different speed than me. The kettlebell can just hover over the floor or touch down, but don't put it down. We're keeping tension in the body the whole time here. If you're going with me, we've got 3 more. 1 more. Good. And relax. Put that weight down. Shake it out. You can already feel how demanding it is on the back side of the body, and that is the point. I'm going to give you a different angle now. I'll give you the 3/4 view for our next round. Something I want you to pay attention to is what your head is doing. So don't look at me. Pay attention to your head and listen, and just adjust your head based on my cueing. So let's get ready. Big exhale, ribs to the hips, tailbone to the floor. Corkscrew the arms into the sockets like you're trying to hide your sweaty pits. They never want to be revealed. Reach down, get your feet so they're underneath the knees. You want the knees to track over the toes here. Inhale and exhale. Now 10 to 15 at your own count. If you're peering up at the screen, you might be craning your neck looking up, and we don't want that. We want the neck to maintain a pretty neutral position. So look 8 to 10 feet in front of you. Gaze maybe at the corner of the room, the top of your mat, and keep your gaze there. Your chin will extend a little bit. You don't need to tuck your chin so that you're looking down at that kettlebell either, because you can tunnel over. And send those hips way back. 1 more if you're with me. And relax. So as we rest, I'll just show you what I mean by the head position. And I said tunnel over, I meant turtle over. If we look too far down while we're doing our deadlift, we can risk rounding at the upper back, right? We kind of like turtle over. We can also look too far up, and then the back arches in the opposite direction. We want to keep that spine pretty neutral, very much like it is when we have good posture standing upright. Slight curve in the back of the neck here. You see that? Fairly straight through the upper back. A very gentle arch in the lower back going down into the sacrum. That's what we want to replicate when we lift, when we squat, when we deadlift. So keep that in mind. Nice flat back, neutral back. So now we're going to go again. I'll give you another angle. I'll face forward. But at this point, you should probably be just paying attention to your own form and self-evaluating. Big exhale. Ribs to the hips, tailbone to the floor. Corkscrew the arms into the sockets. Hinge down, grab onto that bell. And go. Keep going. Send those hips way back. You want to feel your butt cheeks moving in your leggings. 2 more if you're with me. And relax. Great job. We have 1 more round, 4 rounds in total. Just deadlifts. We're mastering the most, not mastering, we're not mastering it yet, but we're practicing the most basic movement pattern, the hip hinge. This is super important because it translates in to your kettlebell swing, your kettlebell clean. We're gonna try the goblet clean today next. Your bent over row. It is just such an important movement pattern. There's even a hinge in the Turkish get-up. We need to make sure those hips are happy, healthy, mobile, and strong. So it all starts with the deadlift. And if you're having trouble with the deadlift, make sure you check out the beginner kettlebell guide on emmabfit.com. This free PDF download takes you through lots of progressions and regressions of the deadlift. If it's too hard to do it from the floor, we bring the floor up higher. If 1 kettlebell is too light, we add 2. Today, we're only doing this 1 version of the deadlift, but no, there are many, and you can also check it out on my deadlift video, which I'm going to try to remember to link up here. So 1 more round, get ready, 10 to 15, hinge down, armpits are tight by corkscrewing the arms into the socket, core is on, go. Relax. Great work. Next up, we're going to go over the goblet clean and the goblet squat. Goblet refers to how we hold the kettlebell when it's in front of us like this. And a goblet clean is getting it to that point. Goblet squat is holding it there and bending at the knees. We already kind of went over the difference between the squat and the deadlift, but I'm going to teach you how to best set up your squat and get the most out of it. So grab your lighter weight kettlebell. I'm going to swap mine out too because there's no way I can talk and move around this 44 at the same time. And I will see you in just a second. So the goblet clean is how we get that bell from the floor into the goblet rack position. And it's using our hip hinge from the deadlift that we just learned. That's why we started with the deadlift. So I'll show you from the front and then I'll take it to the side because I want you to see what the front view looks like, what we're going for. We hinge down, grab the kettlebell, pull the hips through, and it's like hot potato. You're changing your grip from the top to the sides of the bell. Now you can see from the side, my elbows go straight down, my core is on, and I'm holding that bell away from my body. I'm not resting it on my chest. So you can bring it right back down the way it came up, back in a hip hinge. It's almost like a deadlift in reverse, but from up high. And now you'll see from the side, as my hips come forward, the kettlebell shoots up. It's explosive. My glutes are driving it up. Show you a few more times. You see when I really put some oomph in it, it goes flying. So I would like you to put that kettlebell between your heels. We're gonna do 5 reps. I'll show you how to squat. We'll do 10 reps. And then we'll do 2 more rounds of squatting and cleaning. Cleaning and squatting. Clean first, squat second. So hinge your hips back. Grab onto the kettlebell. Again, build tension. Squeeze your armpits. Feel your glutes work, and as you stand up, pull the kettlebell up and the arms up. Let it come down. Hang just an inch off the floor. Again, hips back. Come forward, it comes up. 3 more. Inhale on the way down. Exhale up. So next we'll go into a squat. And your squat will look like this. Lower down and stand up. You see my knees are the primary movers. They're lowering me down and raising me back up. But not everyone's squat is going to look like that and move like that. So we're going to figure out the right squat for you. I want you to hold your arms out in front of you. Actually, first, you're gonna take a little hop, see where your feet land. That's gonna be your starting position for a squat. When you bend your knees, you want to make sure your feet track over the midline of the foot there. Arms out in front of you, lower down, and see what happens. Are you like me? Are your heels staying down, your torso staying upright? It might not be you. This might be you. Heels shoot up. Or this might be you. We lean forward. Or this might be you, the back arches. If any of those are you, I want you to elevate your heels. We're reducing the range of motion that we're asking of the ankles to help us have a more comfortable upright squat. So what you'll do is you're going to take your yoga mat, you're going to roll a really dense, tight roll up about a third or a halfway up your mat. You can also use plates if you're at the gym, books, or squat wedges, which I'll show in a minute because I have those. Anything that gets your feet about an inch or two off the floor. Heels are on the mat, toes are gripping the ground. You want to feel like you're heavy in your heels and in your toes. If you're up too high, you won't actually feel stable in your heels. Arms out in front of you again, and do 5 squats. Observe. Does it feel better? Does it feel easier? Can you get deeper? I'm not there, so it's on you to self-evaluate. Now, it probably felt better. If it didn't, ditch the roll, ditch the heel elevation, but if it did, we are going to do our goblet squats with elevated heels. And for me, that means using squat wedges because I have them. You can buy these on Amazon. I'll link to them below, but the yoga mat works just fine. So feet flat on the ground, goblet clean it up, back up onto your wedges if you're using them. Inhale, exhale down, inhale down, exhale up. 10 times on your own count. Try to keep the back really flat. You want that kettlebell to track up and down. You don't want to be leaning far forward. You don't want the kettlebell to be going on a diagonal. It really wants to stay quite up and down. And you want those knees to track over your toes. Be aware, are they flying outside of the feet? Are they falling inside of the feet? If they are, you want to be aware and adjust your footing for next time. Now we're going to be doing 5 goblet cleans straight into goblet squats for 2 more rounds for 3 in total. And then we'll move on to another set of exercises. So we're going to do our 5 goblet cleans into 10 goblet squats. You're going to want to clean right in front of your heel elevation if you're using it. You want the feet flat on the ground in the hinge because you are leaning quite far forward. If the heels are up, you would topple over. So big exhale, tailbone to the floor, ribs on, core on, ribs down, core on. Inhale, exhale up. 2 more. Good, stay here, back it up. Get those feet on the blocks, core on, elbows down. You don't want that bell leaning on your chest. 10 squats here. Keep going. 2 more. Good. Put her down. Rest for a few seconds, and we got 1 more set. If your feet were moving or your knees were moving not in line with your feet, say this is happening. We've got to reposition. You got to bring your feet in, straighten them out a little more. Then you can track the knees over the toes. If your knees were falling outside, or one was falling outside of the feet, you want to reposition and get your feet a little wider. It's a bit like Goldilocks. Everyone's squat stance is different. There's all this crap out there saying you have to have your toes forward. Can't have your knees over your toes when you squat. Heels have to be down, blah, blah, blah. It's a bunch of noise. The best squat for you is the squat that lets you achieve 90 degrees or lower with good form. So if that's heels up, feet wide, whatever it is, we want your squat to be the best it can. It doesn't need to look like my squat, doesn't need to look like anyone else's. And on that note, 1 more round. Big exhale over the bell, ribs to the hips, tailbone to the floor. Reach down, clean the bell 5 times. 2 more. Good, back it up. Heels on the blocks or the roll, or just flat on the ground. You didn't have to move if you don't have heels up. And 10 squats. Inhale down, exhale up. Keep your weight in your heels. If your heels are elevated, You might have a tendency to lean forward, especially as you fatigue. Keep the weight in the heel. 2 more. And relax. Ditch that kettlebell. You are done with the bells for today. I know this is a kettlebell program, but we gotta supplement with a little body weight stuff because body weight exercises are the foundation of functional training. Mastering your own body weight, so important to becoming strong. So we're gonna do push-ups. Lots of different push-ups exist. We're gonna pick the one that's right for you, and dead bug. All right, your leg's now gonna break because like I said, we're doing push-ups and core. And you should know, a push-up on a wall is a push-up. A push-up on a bench is a push-up. A push-up on the floor is a push-up. And so is everything in between, except push-ups on your knees. Those aren't push-ups. That's another exercise because push-ups on your knees are never going to get you to actual push-ups. They're just gonna make you good at push-ups on your knees. However, if we change the elevation and the type of surface we're on while in good push-up position, you can eventually make your way down to the floor. It's incredible. Doesn't even take that long. Push-ups, I think, are one of the easier things to make headway on really quickly, especially as women. So, first things first, a push-up is an exercise where you're in a tall plank position and moving from the elbow to lower your body in that plank position. So it really looks like this when I'm on the floor, except instead of my hands moving rather, my body's moving. Can't do that because I'm not leaning on anything, but that's what a push-up is. So whether it's on the floor or on the bench, it looks the same. To start, you're going to want to put your thumbs on your shoulders and then reach them forward. That is where your hands want to come to if you're on the floor. And try it on the floor. You might have more success than you think. Then you're going to come to a plank position with your feet as wide as your hip bones, not like the outside of your hips, just where the hips, just where the legs shoot out from the hips from. So I got maybe 6 inches between my feet. Now I'm going to shift my weight into my heels, and I want to feel wedged between my hands and my feet and the floor. I should feel like I'm really not going to go anywhere, right? Like I'm really here. Now I'm going to bend the elbows out at a 45-degree angle and keep the whole body tight, squeezing the butt, squeezing the thighs, squeezing the stomach, lower down until I can't anymore, and then come back up. We're doing sets of 5, so if you can do these, do 5 right now. Inhale down, exhale up, and then stand back up. If that wasn't what you could do today, you're gonna try it on an elevated surface. So, exact same thing we had before, but now my hands are on the bench. So, I'm going to shift my weight into my heels, nice and long, squeeze everything, bend at the elbow, 5 reps here. Now, if you notice that maybe the hips sink and your stomach and ribs are hitting first, we want to hollow out the pelvis a little bit. Tuck the tailbone under and move from here. If you notice your head sinking and your neck is sinking and this is happening, then we need to pull the shoulders away from the ears, pull the shoulder blades down the back and move from there. So 5 of whichever version you can do today. Then we're going to flip onto our back and do dead bugs, which is a great core and brain exercise because it really takes both the body and the mind to achieve. So we're going to bring our knees up to 90 degrees, arms reach for the ceiling. We kind of started this way with our warm-up breath. Now you're going to extend your opposite leg and opposite arm away from each other. And these didn't move at all. Then I pull them back in. Opposite arm and leg go away from each other and come back in. Now you can join me. We're going to do 10 on each side. And you want to keep your lower back in the floor, pressing into the floor. And you can do that by reaching the leg up a little more rather than down. And the non-working leg can pull into the chest a little bit. It doesn't really want to move, it just wants to park towards the chest instead of maybe 90 degrees. The lower to the floor the leg is, the harder it's going to be. And the more up and towards the ceiling you reach, the easier it's going to be. You could also only go as far as you can comfortably go here. You don't have to reach all the way. We've got a few more here, 2 more on each side. We're doing 10 on each side total. And relax. Flip back over for our push-ups. We have 2 more rounds, then a cool down, and that is it. So we're going to come back into our tall plank position for whatever version of push-ups we've got. Shift the weight into the heels. Core is on. Tuck the pelvis under. 5 reps. Inhale down, exhale up. Good. They're fast no matter which version you picked. Flip back onto your back again. Knees up, arms up, opposite arm and opposite leg. Start traveling at the same time. Lower back stays on the floor. Good. Keep going. It's not too hard, but you should start to feel a little burning in the belly if you're not accustomed to doing this exercise. I love a finisher that involves core. Say it's the lazy man's workout because you can usually do it on your back. So it's a good cool down. Keep going. We've got 4 more on each side. This is a slow movement. You don't want to breeze through it. It means that you really weren't going one side at a time. If you're moving too quickly and both sides start moving, you're not getting as much out of it. 1 more. Roll over. 1 more set of push-ups and dead bugs. Come to that tall plank position, shift the weight into the heels, tuck the pelvis under. Even if you're up on an elevated surface, exact same thing, 5 reps. Good. It's okay if yours don't go as quick as mine or don't feel as good as mine. We're gonna keep working on them over the next couple workouts. 1 more set of dead bugs here, opposite arm and opposite leg. Awesome job. Keep that lower back on the ground. Really squeeze the stomach and press the back into the floor. We're more than halfway there. We've got 4 more on each side. 2 more. Last one. And relax. Great work. So that was your first introduction to kettlebell workout. We are going to do a quick cool down, but I want to mention if you felt like maybe, oh, this seemed a little easy, what do these exercises have to do with kettlebells? Feel like I could do them with anything? Yes, you could do them with anything, but you have to master them with kettlebells in order to progress, to move on to the cool kettlebell exercises like swings and cleans and get-ups and snatches. You have to learn how to maneuver the bell. You have to become comfortable with the bell. Dumbbells have the weight on each side. It's very different than holding a kettlebell where it's a handle with a big bulbous kettlebell, big bulbous weight hanging down below it. I talk about it tons in the free guide, so again, check it out because I explain the mechanics of the kettlebell in detail there. But this tool, it's just so different from dumbbells, and if you don't have kettlebells to practice with, you're not going to experience that. But by practicing our major movement patterns of hinging and squatting and pressing and pulling with a kettlebell, then you can just take that and walk right into your ballistic kettlebell training with the swinging and cleaning and all that good stuff. So let's do a quick little cool down. I'll walk you through it, and then I will see you for tomorrow's workout. So hug those legs into your chest and start by making small circles on your lower back. 5 in one direction, and then 5 in the other. There's only 2 directions. Now hug your right leg into your chest and put your left leg on the ground in front of you. And then pull your right leg all the way to the left side, really stacking your hips. My right hip is now on top and past my left hip. My arms come out into a T. You can see here I can't actually straighten my right arm, so just bend it at the elbow and look to your right. And relax. You want to let your body be heavy and release all the tension in your knees, thighs, pelvis, and lower back. You want both of your knees and both of your shoulders to be aiming towards the floor. I know they're both not going to reach, but it gives you something to work towards. Observe where you are today. Let's see if it's in where you are. We'll see if that's the same place you're in at the end of the week. And roll back to the middle. Pull the leg into the chest. Pull the left leg into the chest now, the other leg, and bring it to the right side of the body. Arms again come out in a T, and we look away from that leg to the left. And relax everything. Let the knees be heavy. Release all the tension in the pelvis and groin. Release the tension in your lower back, in the front of your shoulders, and in your face. Let everything melt away. And then roll back to the middle. And And we're going to figure 4 our left ankle over our right thigh. Lift the right leg up and grab the right thigh underneath that left ankle and pull it in towards your chest. And then hold onto the right thigh with the right hand and press the left knee with the left hand. And push and pull at the same time. It's a very good stretch for those of us who sit all day, who have tight hips. People love the pigeon pose and they jump into that. This is a much gentler version. And then relax. We're going to figure 4. One leg over the other, switching sides, tugging on the thigh at first, and then hold onto the thigh and press onto the knee at the same time for that push and pull. Good, and relax. We're going to roll over and do a few more stretches quickly, and then you'll be on your way to enjoy the rest of your lovely day. I don't know what day it's going to be when you do this, so hopefully it's nice weather that day. You're going to drop the belly and look up at the ceiling. Let the shoulder blades fall down the back, and let the arms be scaffolding underneath you, but not hold any tension. Then press your arms into the floor, your hands into the floor. Spread your shoulder blades apart. Tuck your pelvis under and spread those shoulder blades apart. Let the neck release all tension. Don't hold any tension in the neck there. Crown of the head goes towards the floor. And one more time, dive down, drop the belly, look up at the ceiling. Let the shoulders relax down the back. It's okay that they're shrugging up. This is a stretch. And then spread the shoulder blades apart. Press the hands into the floor. Tuck the pelvis under and let the head be heavy. And then bring your toes together and your knees wide and sit yourself back. Bring your head to the floor the best you can in child's pose. Breathe and relax. When you're ready, you can walk yourself back up. That was the entire workout. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because there are 4 more videos in this beginner kettlebell workout series that's going to get you set up for kettlebell success in the long term. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a fantastic and strong day.